When you invite someone as a guest, you show hospitality. But in this case, they were shown hostility. My name is Cihad Caner. I'm from Istanbul, Turkey, but I'm based in Rotterdam already for a long time. I'm a visual artist and exhibiting in this space at the moment. Yeah. I live in Zuid like more than 10 years. I had the idea that people were not really, they were scared of Rotterdam Zuid, but of course with the gentrification, it completely changed now. I think before the bridge, the Erasmus Bridge, the connection was also not very well, so then you had to go through Maas Tunnel or the Willemsburg, so then it wasn't an easy place to go there. Maybe that it was the reason that people were placed there in the first place. The Netherlands or other European countries needed a workforce, so then they invited all these people from Morocco, Turkey, Yugoslavia, Greek, Portugal, Spain, so different countries. So then they came here as a guest. But when you invite someone as a guest, you show hospitality. But in this case, they were shown hostility. Naming this neighborhood as Afrikaanderwijk was the first act of this violence. Because then, you only acknowledge the white history of the South African or South Africa. Riots in the 70s, it was the other act of violence. So then the last act is the gentrification. So there's this erasure going on that, all the streets, all these places, they're erasing the history or stories. So that's why it also became very necessity for me to make this project. Film is one of the legs, but it's one of the main parts, of course. But then, language tours that we do in Afrikaanderwijk is the other one. And this exhibition is another leg of it. And then the activity room, all the workshops we conduct throughout the exhibition. Yeah, the starting point of the Afrikaanderwijk project actually, the initial encounter with the riots actually happened in this building. So this was 2016, and I was visiting an exhibition downstairs at 10th back then, and they were featuring a Turkish-Dutch artist called Esma Yiğitoğlu, and her work has nothing to do with this riots actually. But in the press release, it was saying that this artist was quite active in the 70s and 80s to protect the guest worker woman. I was like, okay, why they needed protection? So then, when I got home, I searched online, and then I saw all these very disturbing images from the 70s. And I started to ask around, have you heard about anything about these riots? And no one heard about it. It's completely forgotten. It happened in 1972, so already 53 years. It took some time for me to go back and then really make a deep research. And it wasn't easy, so I had to really look deeply to find people. So then they started to tell their testimonies, their memory of the riots. And so one of them was talking about the change of the street name, Parelstraat became Hollandsestraat 2. And the other person was talking about it never happened. So then, but I also have a picture of it, so then, which one is telling the truth? So then I was like, okay, maybe this project is not about the truth anymore. It's about how memory is not something fixed and it's changing from one person to another. When something is completely forgotten, how do you remember it? So the idea of collective memory came to me, how to create a collective memory of these riots. So therefore, talking to different people, it really helped me to understand. So then in the end, there's no fixed point of view, so you don't hear the riots from one person only, or in documentaries where they do perpetrator versus victim dialect. So in this project, there's no dualistic approach, so then it's more collective. So then I also use a reenactment as a form. All the roles are also different. So like, you know, Dutch woman is reenacted by a Dutch Moroccan actor, or like, you know, the other way around. So it's changed all the time. These riots started on a street called Goedhoopstraat. But then these riots went to a street called Wapenstraat. So somehow I realized that this neighborhood carries some kind of like other violences in different forms. It comes from South Africa. So that's why like we have this street called like Goedhoopstraat, Cape of Good Hope, or Kaapstraat, or Transvaalstraat, or Pretorialand. And we organize these tours only about the history of the street names. Where does these names come from? And we do it in multiple languages. We do it in Dutch, Moroccan Darija, Papiamentu, in Cantonese, Turkish, and English. So then it sort of like creates a different way of like accommodating different communities. Because otherwise when you do this like in an art jargon, so then it creates these barriers between like different communities. So then what happens if we reach them in their mother tongue? Because for me it's very important. The activity room is also one of the key aspects of the research. So like, because I would like to do a publication after this exhibition actually. So I want the visual content of the publication come through as a collective act. So then we ask the participants to trace over the areas they like to focus or they like to emphasize. So then we shuffle this carbon paper around, so then the same carbon paper is used by the different participants of the workshop. So then in the end, the created image is a collective act. So then you also see different layering, different like focus points on the carbon paper. Whenever I show this project, like, and I get this feedback, oh, okay, this could also happen now. Because like that's the thing, that it's like the history is like cyclical, so it repeats itself again and again. So then what can we learn from this? Because this happened and it's completely forgotten. So then we have the possibility to imagine it or to define how it can be remembered in the future.